What's up, everybody, and welcome to Moments with the Mobleys. I am your man, Johnnie Mobley Jr.,
Hey y'all, I'm his wife, Deirdra Mobley,
and we something like an ordinary couple.
with extraordinary purpose. Hey patrons. Hey y'all. Happy Tuesday.
You ain't saying your thing. You waiting for your thing to come up.
What thing?
What you greeting?
Greetings, salutations, accolades, and blessings, y'all.
Why are you looking like you
I'm
discombobulated?
tired, y'all. You know you tired when you in a lunch and learn with your supervisor and she telling you about the program and you looking up at the screen and saying, You feel yourself, that one eye close a little bit. And you feel her look at you. Ooh, it was rough.
She saw you close it?
I don't know. I don't know. You can't feed me Mexican and I'm already sleepy. And it was bad, y'all. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful in any way, form, or fashion, but it is such as life.
And you think, well, I'm not gonna say it. You believe you're half Mexican. That's your background. You mixed.
I do.
What part of you are Mexican?
My stomach.
That's a good answer.
Hey, patrons, how y'all doing? I promise y'all I'm gonna get a little perkier as the episode goes on.
What you got in this cup?
But y'all, can you leave my stuff alone and worry about what's in your cup? It's cranberry juice.
Is it cranberry juice? Why can I see?
You can see what's in your cup. Drink your stuff.
Well, see what's in my cup. Let me see what's in your
I don't want
cup.
to see what's in your cup. That's water in your cup. See, because you put it in there. Matter of fact, you got water and ice. Mind your business. Hey, y'all.
Oh, what I done told you.
Listen, y'all, we jumping in. We jumping straight in tonight.
So tonight we doing questions. We ask you, our followers, to give us some questions that y'all would like to hear us answer about relationships. So we've done it before and we've gotten quite a few questions. So we decided to do it again. And it's because we talk about a lot of different things, but we want to target some of the main points that you guys might want to talk about. So this is the opportunity to do it. So we'll be sending out more emails and notices for you guys to ask questions and send them to our website, our email, which is momentswiththemobleys@gmail.com. But look out for it where you can find us and watch the answers to these on www.momentswiththemobleys.com. All things, all platforms, all things Mobleys. All right, Mo.
All right, guys. So, as Mr. Mobley said, we won't be doing questions every episode, but we did ask again, and so these were some really, really good ones.
I wonder why my nose run every time I get on the show.
I don't know. And I don't know why some of these questions were asked, but it's they were a little bit, we were like, wait, what? They're not listening to the episodes because we've talked about this before. So we gonna answer just a couple of them. These are some long questions. Please leave my cup alone and drink your ice water. Thank you.
You say you drinking cranberry juice?
That's my business.
Because it's funny, you got some wine that look just like that.
They're the same color.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I subscribe that we do this short question first, and then we answer the longer one second or whatever. We're not trying to make this episode 5 hours long, so we won't get them all in, but we'll spread them out periodically.
AKA that short talk for Johnny don't talk a long time.
Well, he got it. So I'm gonna read this question first, babe, and then you can jump on it. So it says this person actually made a statement, and it said this is not a question, but I wish y'all would discuss some heavier topics. Marriage and life is hard, and although I enjoy the jovial topics, I would like to know how to get along with my spouse. We've been married for 3 years. Neither parent is married, so we are all we got. Please let us in on more personal experiences. You want to go first on that?
I don't understand what it says. Neither parent is married, so
neither one of their parents
are married, so they don't have anybody.
I guess that didn't have that role model to pull on.
Oh, they didn't have the role model
when they were growing up, or that marriage modeled in front of them. And so they wish that we would talk about some heavier topics.
You go first.
Well, I first thought about this as an opportunity to tell y'all about the Night podcast, which is on the Patreon platform, where we do get into heavier topics. We realize that this podcast is released all over. You don't have to have a Patreon account. You don't have to subscribe to it. It's easily accessible by, through our website or YouTube, wherever podcasts are listened to. So we knew that with the heavier topics that we needed to do them on another platform. So that's why we don't necessarily do the heavier topics on this platform, if that makes sense. I hope the person who asked this question will see this actual episode. So we do talk about the heavier topics like the infidelity and, sex and different things to enhance it. And, just the different, sometimes, the emotional, things, a lot of the emotional things and the more difficult things that do go on in marriage that a lot of couples don't want to talk about, or a lot of couples don't talk about. We talk about it. But again, we reserve those topics for the Patreon platform. Just because, you do have to subscribe. You do have to be older to be able to get access to that information.
And that gives us a little bit more that gives us a little bit more leadway to dig a little deeper, and instead of putting it out there for somebody to browse and just look at something and to offend anybody
or somebody younger too.
Or somebody younger. Yeah. So this way they have to get in. So what I would like to say is 3 years, I want to say bravo. Y'all well on y'all way. No, I don't know how long y'all been together or dating before you got married. No, marriage is not easy. It's not in the beginning. It gets tougher. It can be tougher as you go with the years, but you got to remember, we got over 30 years. So what y'all seeing now is what y'all seeing. A lot of people hear me say, you stay. The biggest thing I can say is continue to go through the process, continue to equip yourselves with relationship enhancers, different things to help y'all communicate, spend time together, get to know each other. I'm not gonna go deep into it, but yeah, the oneness comes over time. And it has to be a thing that y'all get woven into together to move as a unit. And you guys are not there yet.
Cause it's just year 3 for y'all.
Yeah.
So really, y'all just maybe tap in on getting to know each other. Cause like year 1, we all blissful and all this stuff or whatever, or the first few months and stuff like that. But year 3. Y'all got some journeying to do.
Yeah.
And it's not that we don't share. That's why I was kind of puzzled by this, because it says, let us in on more personal experiences. Please go back to YouTube before we started the video. Yeah. We have a whole lot of episodes.
A whole lot.
a month or so ago, we just did our 100th episode. And when we first started, we didn't have video. We had just audio.
Yeah.
And so we talk about it. The personal
The
experiences,
beginning,
right? The beginning.
everything.
The not liking you, the not, talking to you for so long you couldn't even remember what the argument was about.
Yep.
We talk about more personal experiences, and we still do. We just, give y'all the other side of them. Because you can't stay, we don't, it's not like you have an argument and you stay in that argument for 20, 25 years and 30 years and you stay mad at each other. No, you get over it. But that was the reason why we started the podcast, to share the experiences, but show the other side of it. So, of course, y'all ain't going to get us on here, dang near about to gouge each other eyes out and we beefing and cussing each other out and all that stuff or whatever. We're more mature now.
And that's not our life. That's not who we are.
Right.
Now, we would encourage you, if you have some questions, some detailed questions you would like to ask, you can send it to our email, and we will...
momentswiththemobleys@gmail.com.
We will answer
we'll answer.
On the podcast, or you can actually go
personally
to our website.
We'll
and
answer
you
them
can,
personally.
Yeah.
On email.
And we'll answer the questions personally. We can address it on the podcast, or if you and your husband would like some coaching through this, then y'all can go to our website and actually
book a
consult. And the first consult is free, and then from that point on we'll build and go from there.
Yeah.
But our perspective is different. We're not exempt from anything any other couple goes through. The difference is our perspective is different now. So a lot of times when you get attacked from any area, any lane, regardless of what it is, if it's from finances to infidelity, the perception is different now. We do everything we can to close the gaps in our relationship and don't leave the gates open. Another podcast you need to go check out. Don't leave the gates open, and we make sure we address everything as a team. It's not a blame thing. We're not against each other. We always on the same side. So, and the communication is better. The communication wasn't good at one time. It's good now. So we're able to talk through things. We're able to get through things, and
And do we have hiccups? Absolutely.
Yeah. It doesn't change.
It don't change. It's just your perspective changes.
Yeah.
Or the way you handle it changes.
So so I would tell you, and this one thing, this is the last thing, change your perspective. The marriage is going through a process. The relationship is going through a process. And that part of it is hard. To getting to know each other, to move as one, that part is hard. But to add in all the daily stuff that happens, it makes it tough. So once you strengthen the core of what you and your husband have, it'll get better. It'll get better. Stuff will still happen, but the way y'all handle it will be completely different. And that's I'm done.
Yeah.
Because you said that was the short one.
The one thing I want to add to the end of that, I know you say that neither of your parents are are married, and so y'all didn't have that y'all didn't have that example of marriage lived out before y'all. But y'all 3 years in, if y'all are believers and y'all have a ministry that you go to, maybe try to connect with other couples in the ministry. Maybe try to surround yourself with people who are trying to practice and trying to have great marriages, successful marriages, people who have, and it wouldn't even be a bad idea to find an older couple who maybe wouldn't mind being a mentor. There are people that you can connect with, that you can meet. If your church has a marriage ministry, like I said, if you're citizens of a church, if they have a marriage ministry, find those outlets. There are books out here, that are given, marital advice. a plug for ours. It's coming. The marriage firm, the recipe for
The perfect
recipe
for your
relationship. And so there are other, reputable authors out here who have, great, healthy marriages. Ours is a great, healthy Christian marriage. Like I said, like Johnny said, and like I just said, are we exempt from trouble in it? Absolutely not. But it's that we choose to talk about it, deal with it, go through it into the other side of it, and learn the lesson that was in that situation or that trouble. And so that's just how we do it. Like I said, please go back, and hear the shenanigans that we dealt with, especially at the beginning, and through the first, several years or whatever. Again, we hope that helps you.
And if you don't have a church home, go to www.momentswiththemobleys.com. Reach out to us. We'll definitely get back to you and answer any questions that you have.
Yeah. Okay, so this question was the one that when I first read it, I was like, what? We talked about this extensively. But then I know we shared a lot of it, I believe, on the night on Patreon, I believe.
Yeah, we talked. You talk about the infidelity.
Yeah, we talked about this more so on Patreon.
On Patreon, because we needed a little
more
bit of a
mature audience.
The platform
to
be able to say the stuff, because we understood. You can't say everything.
So the person who asked this question must not be a Patreon subscriber, but please go and subscribe if you aren't. But we are going to go through some of this tonight. We will make it PG friendly.
A little bit more organic and PG friendly.
So the question says, you have talked about infidelity before, but as a listener, we never really got a solution other than Johnny didn't leave. Deirdra, how did you get past the insecurities that he caused by stepping out? Did you go through a phase where you wanted to hear every detail? That's where I am now, and I can't help but to obsess over it. My husband and I are separated because of this, but being alone and reflective, I want my marriage, but I don't know if I can have it as is. Okay, so I'm going to break it up.
It got to be these nose hairs, because every time I go up here, I'm thinking something coming out. There ain't nothing coming out.
Is your hair nose?
I think so.
Nose hair?
The mustache, I don't know what's going on.
Hair nose.
I'm just trying not to, be caught out here on this podcast with a booger,
Well, I would at least tell you that.
Yeah, you would tell me.
After it's over.
See, that ain't you talking. It's this red liquid you drink.
It's me talking.
No, it's not.
So the first part of it says, Deirdra, how did you get past the insecurities that he caused by stepping out? First and foremost, at this point, okay, so let me start right here. When I found out that there was that he had stepped out, it was years later. So it wasn't like that relationship was still, it wasn't like that relationship was ongoing or still happening when I found out. Let me just say that. So I found out way after the fact, but nevertheless, I found out. And so where we had just celebrated our 10th anniversary, wedding anniversary, and I found out the very next week. So at that point, and no point throughout the whole our first conversation after I found out or anything like that, us going through this whole thing, did I feel insecure? Because at this point, we had worked through the rough spots. He just negated to tell me what happened during the rough times. So that's like I said, so we had already worked through that. So I was very secure. I was very confident in the fact that of who I was. Let me put it like that. when I found out, did I question? I didn't. I think I can strongly say this. I never questioned who I was at that point, or that I was the reason, or I was too fat, or I was too this, or I was too that. I never questioned myself or was insecure about it with anything within myself to say that that's why he did what he did. Because again, the relationship wasn't going on when I found out. It had gone on before then, and we had worked through issues and had been in a much better, stronger place right at when I found out. So I was at a place to now, when finding out that I was not, again, like I said, questioning anything about myself or my worth or I was walking around, harboring insecurities about myself. I more so was thinking, one, why didn't you just tell me this? Two, how could you open this gate and then leave it open for that situation to come and pretty much like just
that bomb to
slap
come
me in my face.
the bomb to come in, and then poof, and then you looking surprised, and then you look at my face and you looking like, Joker, why you don't look surprised?
Right. Because like I told you, we were in a much better place, but he just negated to tell me what happened when we weren't in a good place. And so again, I was wondering, hey, all these thoughts going, okay, so, and I think at one point I did say to him, like, who are you?
Yeah. That was the biggest thing, I think, of you not believing who you were married to. Like, you did not believe me. You didn't believe who I was or what I was doing. And then you replayed stuff in your head to say, okay, so when this happened, who were you? And when this, so it was more or less of not in her insecurities, like she said, but our life together.
Right.
That's what she was questioning.
Right.
The life that we've created, that we built together, especially during the time when we was in the valley, and then we began to climb that mountain again, but it was way different. It was a different level, different elevation, everything. And then, that actually happened. So to put my part in it, I said I stayed. So the reason that is so important, because when I said I stayed, I didn't know what to say. I did a lot of praying and I did a lot of hoping and wasn't even sure if God was listening to me. But what most men do when they get in a situation of combativeness or uncomfortableness, they leave. They don't want to be around it. They don't want to be. And see, this is the part I tell men this all the time, especially if you step out, if you do something like that, that's the line, the thin line, the invisible line between reality and fantasy. Now, in my situation, the fantasy was there, and then I just thought I could just shut the book, turn the video off, and I was good. But the reality was, the other young lady, it was real for her. It wasn't real for me. So when it actually happened, her response was exactly what it needed to be. Because, okay, well, what's going on? What's happening? Who is this? Why is this happening? Why you not? So all that stuff happened. So when she made contact so the fantasy all became real fast. Me not leaving.
But in that, she became the person that that per se, I think that that you talk to about your problems.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was, because from the conversation that I had with her, she knew about us.
Yeah.
She knew about me. She knew about my kids. She knew about it. So although it may have been a release for you, it was real for her.
She was rescuing me
and
from what I
based on
presented.
what, right, absolutely, based on what you told her.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know what field of dreams you was giving her.
Yeah.
I don't know like I said, I don't know what you was feeding her. If, oh, well, I'm going to be with you. I'm going to leave my family, or you know what I'm saying? Or I'm just going, you'll be over here, or you'll be over here. Because in all honesty, I never even asked that question.
Yeah.
Did you tell her you was going to leave us?
I did.
I
did.
You did?
Yeah. It took a minute for me to do it, but I did. And then when I saw the turn begin to happen, that's when I said, I need to work on it. I need to try. But of course, she wasn't here.
Yeah.
But at that point, that's when I told you, at that point, I had to make a decision. So I couldn't, I put myself in a situation, and in it, somebody was gonna get hurt. The chances of you finding out was greater, everything. But I had to, because the fantasy was over. Everything that I was saying that I was doing it for and convinced myself I was doing it for, that wasn't there no more, because you begin to change. So it's like, so now you just in it doing it for what? I ain't had no reason.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I got to stop. And somebody got to get hurt. And I chose my family. I didn't want to hurt Deirdra. I didn't want to hurt the girls, but I knew that was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen.
But you didn't know how to tell it, though.
No.
So it wouldn't have. So you would be the one to bring it out. That was my whole deal with you. Once the initial shock of finding out that you had been in this relationship with this person, that was I think that was, for me, that was the question. Like, you first and foremost, who are you? Because you see on movies and Lifetime movies at that, he might be a truck driver, and he got a different family. He got a family in this state and a family in that state, and and so who is the true, who are the real Johnny? Please stand up type situation.
Yeah.
But like I said, there were no insecurities for me at that. What I did understand in that moment was once I got over, like I said, he came home, and the one thing that let me not jump ahead of myself. The one thing that I did know, again, there were no insecurities with me. I wasn't beating myself up saying, you was ugly, you was fat, you was this, you was that, you shoulda, woulda, coulda. Because I know what we had come through. But what I did start to think about was, and not that I'll ever give him an excuse, because what I realized from the jump was, him stepping out, that was something that was going on with him. Because at the end of the day, there is nothing that he had his stuff with him too.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, there was nothing that he could have said or done to make me believe that him stepping out was my fault.
Yeah.
Granted, we had our stuff. He had his stuff. I had my stuff, and I owned it. But at the end of the day, I knew in my heart where we were at that point. And I think I did question you, like, has all of this been a lie? Because it didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
It felt genuine. It felt like we made it to year 10. And of course, we had been through a lot of stuff, but we made it to year 10, and we were good. And we were getting better.
Yeah. And
so for me, I think that's what made me think quickly about, just play it back in my mind to say, he cheated. That hurt. Like nothing else had ever hurt. The advice that I had given to girlfriends before who had gone through the same thing, I couldn't muster that up for myself. because my first thing was to them was, you shouldn't take that, you should leave, and or you should put him out, or you should do this. But when you dealing with the situation that you've been the advice giver for, it's a whole nother bag of worms. And so, but the one thing I knew when I first, and this is to the lady who wrote this, the one thing that I knew when he came home and we started talking and I started asking questions, the one thing that was in my spirit from the very moment. Now, mind you, at this point, I had, me and God we was buddies, and still are. And I was in a place in God where it was basically, no matter what comes, no matter what goes, I'm sticking with you, God, and you will help me get through whatever I need to get through. But the one thing that I knew at that moment, in our conversation, was that my marriage isn't over. Because, and this may help you in making a decision whether to let him come back and y'all seek counseling and work on it. The one thing that I did know was that I knew, and even though I questioned it, I knew who you were. I knew who he was. I knew your heart, and I knew who you were. And there's a difference if you married and you don't have a clue about who your husband is. He's never given you his heart. Y'all have never had that, exchange of, to know that this was God ordained. There's a difference if you just married somebody and you just with them and y'all like strangers passing in the night.
And y'all hoping.
Right. And that's not what this was. So even in the midst of trouble, I knew who you were. And that's my assuredness that was God that told me that and gave me a peace quickly is the reason why we're here today.
Yeah.
And it was never a point. Did I know that we was going to have to put in the work? Absolutely. Because I think that's what one of your questions is. Like, did you go through a phase where you wanted to hear every detail? Absolutely.
And I told everything.
Absolutely.
No matter how much she cried, no matter how much she cursed me, no matter how much she told me to get out of her face, no matter how much whatever she asked me, I would answer it. Completely honest, 100%. I wanted to answer. And see, this is the part. This is the part where people don't get when something like this hits your marriage, and one or the other lets the gate open, and this comes in to destroy, and the bomb hits, it blows up. Most people, they go in their separate directions. So the questions, I could have left and went to my mama's house or whatever, and then to quote unquote give her space. She told me to leave, but I didn't. She told me to leave several times, but I didn't.
I still don't remember that, y'all.
But
okay.
She don't remember a lot of stuff, but it was out of anger and emotion, and I get that. But the God in me, everything told me, do not leave your home.
He wasn't in the room with me every night.
No,
but he was still there in the house.
But everything in me said, do not leave your home. And I asked God, I said, what do I say? He said, don't say nothing. See, when you put, and this is, I don't know if your husband watches this or not, but when you put someone, when I put her through that, I couldn't allow that to happen. And then whatever emotional roller coaster she was on, to let her be on that by herself. So I needed to stay. So if she came in and said, all right, whatever, what did she do? How did she do? Did you love her? Did you this? Did you that? What happened? Did she love you? She asked me all the questions. And it asked me it several times on several different occasions. So, but I was there. I was an option. And that was the most important thing. And that's why I say when you stay there, you can't do something like that big of a damage, create that big of a damage to your relationship and then leave the site. You can't do that. You have to be there. You have to answer the questions. You have to be the one. See, the bad thing was she found out, but she didn't find out from me. And my motives were not true motives. I wanted out. I wanted to tell her, but I didn't want to hurt her. That was my motive. I didn't want to hurt the other young lady because I'm not a person that hurt people. That's not what I do. So I just won't say nothing. So the motive behind that was for me. That wasn't me trying to fix nothing. That wasn't me trying to be mature, be the bigger person, get the issue solved. That wasn't none of that. That was me being selfish, not wanting me to hurt and being found out, not wanting her to look at me different. I didn't want that. So I just figured if I just vanish, even the other, I didn't want her to look at me. I just vanished, then I'm good. Act like it never happened. Just close the book, slide the book up under the bed, and we just never go look at it again.
Well, of course, y'all see that ain't the truth. But how did I get past? It wasn't insecurities. How did I get past the fact that I didn't trust him anymore?
Yeah.
I wish I could give you a magic pill or a magic something or a magic something
A word
to help you get over this quickly. But in all actuality, it's gonna take time and it's gonna take work on both of y'all parts. If you know that that you think you believe that your husband, messed up and this ain't his MO, he gonna keep messing up and keep messing up and keep messing up. If you know, like I said, within your heart that you know his heart, then, I would say give it another chance. But also know he's got to have to want it.
And he's got to
be on that same tip of, I got to be here to answer the questions that are asked. I got to be here, and they're gonna be hard questions to take whatever comes at me
and answer them
when
honestly.
When it comes at me, and just and basically ride it out, because at the end of the day, the build up to this happening or him stepping out, that didn't happen overnight. So it's not like it's going poof, be gone the next day and y'all back lovey-dovey, or y'all back, back he back in your good graces. This is something that happened that is very detrimental to a marriage because it throws everything out the window.
The whole life. Everything
and so
y'all had before
it's not an easy potion to say do this, that, and the other. My faith in God, our faith in God, is what got us through this, to get us here today. A lot of people be like, well, people say, well, God did it and da-da-da. He did. He absolutely did. But because we trusted him and had faith in him to know that there was nothing that's out of his control and there's nothing that catches him by surprise. And so he already knew what was going to happen and know that your girl was going to need him real bad. And so it was about learning and regaining trust. And before that could even begin to happen, it was the communication.
Yeah.
The talking. So when you went this place, where were you really? Did you really go out of town to run this run? Or did you really do this? Or were you really working? Or were you over there for the weekend? Is her baby your baby?
Yeah.
What we doing? Yeah. Did you do it to her without a condom, or did you put one on? What was it? Was it good? Wasn't it good? Whatever questions I had, he answered them. And so at the end of the day, the questions and I kept them coming. And then we might have had a good day, and then we had 4 bad days.
Yeah.
Because that's how I felt.
And whatever
And
day
I
we was
felt
having.
like you going to get all of this that I got inside of me, whatever it is. You going to get it because you are the one who brought the roller coaster into the house.
And I stayed right there and it ran over my toes, my fingers, my lips, ears, whatever it did.
And you,
I was willing. That's how much whatever it took. All I know is God told me not to leave. I've opened the gate, allowed it in, shut the gate, stay your behind there, be on God. So now I can't allow nothing else from the outside to come in and have her question it. Everything got to come to me because I left the gate open.
yeah.
So the gate is locked, it's shut, and I'm standing guard right now. So whatever you got, come to me. I got you. I'm gonna say whatever you say. Completely honest. And just like Deirdra said, if your husband wants it, then yeah. But you have to think, and I'm gonna tell you this: you have to think with your heart and not your emotions.
Because your emotions going to be all over the place.
You know if you married to a good man. You know if he's gonna cheat again. You know if you put him out and right now he laid up in a hotel room with somebody. You know this.
Right. If that's his character.
Yeah. Or he calling you every day. He trying to come by. It changes. That situation pushed me in to the level of man that I was always supposed to be. Always supposed to be. What kept me from it is me and Deirdra not communicating. What put me in that situation was when I tried to talk to her, and like Deirdra said, go back and look at the podcast, but it was situations when I tried to talk to her and she wouldn't talk back to me, she would cry. And her being depressed, I didn't know that. Because in my mind, I'm doing everything I can. I'm working these jobs. I'm bringing home this money. You good. So I don't understand. I'm giving you the loving. I'm doing all this stuff. But it wasn't enough. She was depressed. She was home with kids. She had 5 babies and she was 12. Not 12, but y'all understand. She was young. So that was a lot. Emotions was a lot. She didn't know. She didn't understand who she was. She didn't know her identity. So it was a lot going on.
But again, that was not an excuse.
It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. And I'm going to tell you how the enemy said it, but it's not an excuse because I said she didn't want me. And I said, okay, well, I'm paying bills. I'm doing all this stuff. But obviously, I don't make her happy. So I'm not the dude for her. And this is the key point. I said that out loud. The enemy took that and ran with it. When I was in that place, old girl showed up. She wanted me. He put in place what I said I didn't have. So instead of me wanting that or talking to my wife, and that didn't happen. But I said she don't want me. Didn't understand why. Was doing everything that I thought in my mind, but because we didn't have a conversation, so now he put that in place. Now the enemy put stuff in your way and distract you and try to distract you every day. It's up to you not to make the decision to do it. And that's what I did. I made the decision to try it, and then once I tried it, I was like, okay, all right. I feel like a man again now.
But it was surface. She was getting surface, Johnny.
It was.
Because it wasn't all his stuff.
It was. And then here's the crazy thing. Because I didn't have to be 100% Johnny with her. I just had to be.
You could be
10%.
whoever you wanted to be.
Yeah, I was whatever I wanted to be. But here's the thing. When God started to turn it and everything that I wanted out of a wife began to blossom from Deirdra, now, why are you doing it now? She wants you. She show you that every day. Now what? That's when I had to check my motives. and they wasn't true. Everything that I thought. Anyway, that's a whole nother.
It
Go
is,
check
and I
that.
want to
Go check the
finish
episode.
answering her question.
Go check the episode out. But me staying is me not allowing nothing in. Me going through the process, whatever that is, I let it in. Your husband allowed that attack into your household. I don't know if he wanted to stay. I don't know if he left because you told him to leave. I don't know what that is. And I'm not gonna say no more because I don't
we don't.
want to.
There's
I
a
don't
lot
know
of
y'all
unknowns.
situation.
Yeah.
I don't know your situation,
And
but
we
y'all
can
can
only
go
answer-
to the website www.momentswiththemobleys.com. Go ahead, and if you wanna, you can ask another question, or you can put in for a consult with us.
So I did say, yeah, I wanted to hear every detail. But the more time passed, the more we talked, the more we didn't talk, the more I asked questions, the more I didn't ask questions, the more we began to cultivate the new relationship. The bad started, the bad thoughts and stuff, and the questions that I had asked over and over again. It started really not to just be in my brain a whole lot like it was. And I think that's what you were saying in your within your question to us. You can't help but obsess over it. That's what it's going to be in the beginning. That's what it was for me. But again, as time passed, as we talked, as we argued, as we cried, as I asked questions, as he answered them, the time went on, and yeah, it would come back up. But for me, I can't tell you, oh, after 6 months, y'all gonna be all right, y'all gonna be good. But the time just grew. You know, the time from the time that I found out, the time that we began to move forward and still go through the process of working things out, that got further and further away from when I found out. And so there came a point to where I felt like I've asked all I want to know. And I remember a conversation with my mother-in-law because I began to hold him hostage for a long time. And she said to me one day, because I would call her and I would vent because she was on the phone when I got the initial call from the girl. So she knew before he knew. And I would talk to her every day and she would encourage me and everything like that. And there was one day, and I can't remember how much time had passed, but it had been a significant amount of time. And she said, Deirdra, how long are you going to stay in this place? Because if you don't move, you say you want him, you let him stay. Y'all been talking, y'all have had some good times since you found out. But are you going to hold him hostage forever? Because if you are, then, and you said you wanted the marriage, you said you wanted, him to remain, you wanted him to be your husband, you loved him still, but y'all had to work on it. She said, but if you stay in this place of completely holding him hostage forever, it's going to be a miserable marriage. And so that was kind of a light for me, because I was walking around with the attitude of, at this point, I wasn't hurt anymore. I think I was angry. And I was saying, I'm going to treat him however the wind blows, basically. Because you hurt me, I'm going to treat you how I'm feeling every day. And it don't matter how I feel. You going to get it, all of it. And so, to be honest, that was hurting me.
Because I wasn't going nowhere.
Period.
So whatever okay.
It was hurting me. And so, but again, the time began to pass, and I think that day was a turning point for me where I was like, okay, Lord, I'm tired. I want to trust him again. I want to, open up to him again. I want us to be a married couple. I want us to have a great relationship. I want us to still remain a strong family unit. Okay, so what do I need to do? How do I move from this point? And I feel like he said to me, just in all honesty, I feel like he said, give me this, give it to me, like completely, like give it to me. Where they said, like, you cast all your cares upon the Lord because he's concerned about you. I feel like he said, just lay it right here, lay it all out. You've told him every feeling, every emotion, everything. Now give it to me. And that day I did. And again, time began to go on. And, did we still have, little rifts? Absolutely. But the good started outweighing the bad. At one point I could tell you the date, I could tell you the time, I could tell you the date, the month, the day, the year, the time, what I had on, where I was sitting in the house. And the longer the time got, the more the specifics, the details begin to get faded and unclear for me. And sometimes I would try to make myself remember, just in case I needed to maybe bring that back up. But when I tell you, the more time passed and the more we began to rebuild and the more we began to talk and, relate and have open conversation. And I even acknowledged, even though it wasn't an excuse for him to do what he did, I even acknowledged, because I was able to look back when I was younger and the things that I didn't know and the things that I knew, but because I was going through my own stuff, I felt like I had no control over. I began to think about those things as well. And the things that he dealt with him not knowing who he was, as well as me. So again, I wish I could give you some magic answer. My answer is God, period. Our answer is God, period. Because we could not have done this on our own. And so the details will fade. They will. But I know that our marriage was God ordained, and so he sustained it. Period. Even though that thing came to kill it, to try to destroy it, and all these things, you got to know, and I don't know if you're a believer, but at the end of the day, if you know who that man is, if you know that he's a good man who made a mistake and not a whore who gonna keep on whoring, then, because if that's the case, then just let him go about your business and ask the Lord to, help heal your heart. But at the end of the day, if you know that, is it gonna take work? Absolutely. Tears and questions and every little thing is gonna bother you. But at the end of the day, if it's worth it and you know it's worth it, be willing to put in the work. But again, he got to be willing to want to do it too. It has to be both of you. It can't just be you wanting your husband back. And you said something at the end. You believe you want your marriage, but you don't want it as it is. And I wouldn't want it as it is as it is either, baby.
And you don't want it to go back to where it was. Right. You want something brand new.
Yeah.
Something brand new.
Yeah. And so people, like I said, people will say, I just want it,
I want it to be like it
used to be. No, I don't want him want it like it used to be. I want something new. And back then, at that moment, I don't think I even knew that that's what I want. But when I gave it over to God, he did and y'all know that he do better than we do. Or better than and gives us better than more than we can ask or think. And so for us, that was our answer.
We didn't know it was.
Right.
That was the answer.
But that was the answer. And does time help? Absolutely. Absolutely. But what are you going to do with that time as it passes? Because if you remain bitter, like I tried to remain, and I didn't have somebody who checked me quickly, I could have still been in a bitter state, and the Lord wouldn't have been able to do what he has done.
And I would have still been here. I just would have been unhappy too, probably. But at the same time, I would have been saying it was my fault. So this is what I get. Because I got a wife and I got kids, and it's what I really want. I didn't know it at the time. I thought it was a joke. I took it for granted. So once I got real about it, that's what I would have did. I'd have been in it. I'd have been in it, unhappy. She would have been unhappy. and then we'd have just been in it. But my perception of it would have probably been, okay, this is what I deserve. This is what I deserve.
Yeah.
You let somebody come in and cut your wife, from the shoulder all the way down to her fingertip. And although, we done bandaged it up, we stopped the bleeding, we stitched it up, it's healed, but that scar is still there. So how do we get rid of the scar? The scar doesn't leave. So, and this is a question you probably wouldn't need to ask your husband, but this is a question you really need to ask yourself. Does he want his marriage as well? Does he want the marriage? Is this his character? Is this who he is? Or was this a horrible decision? And if it's not him, he made a horrible decision, let him come back. Even if he had to stay in a different room, let him come back. And like I said, I don't know if he listened to our podcast, but because you allowed something into your family to destroy, and you knew it was coming, you knew it was a possibility that it was coming. You knew that was coming, but she didn't. Because that happened, now you got to stand guard regardless. Now everything that she hears now about this situation and anything else got to come from you for however long, until the healing happens. Until it happens. I encourage y'all. I encourage you, if we can
Help in
hit
any
us up.
way.
Yeah,
Hit us up.
if we can help in any way, email us more questions, or at momentswiththemobleys@gmail.com, or reach out to us on our website. Ask for a consultation and we'll get to you. And we can help. we definitely can help. But what healed this? God and time.
And we put in the work.
That's why I say I stayed.
So I hope that helped. And my prayer for you, sis, is that you'll really take some time to talk to God and ask for his direction in this. Ask him to direct your path, your path, your husband's path. And just
if he's
give
really
you
your husband.
Right. And just give you, the answers and the clarity that you need. And if you need to know the details, don't be afraid to ask. Because some people say, but also be ready for the answers.
Yeah.
Because some people be like, I want to know. And then when he's telling them, then you don't want to know. No,
I
don't want to know.
believe that.
Right. So, again, our prayer, and we pray because all marriages, we want them to be healthy and we want them to be whole and thriving and enjoying one another. But for us, that came in to tear us apart, but it actually worked for our good.
Yeah.
And so I pray maybe that this will be the same situation in your case, that it will work for your good and y'all will get on the other side of this. That's my prayer for you, and that the Lord will give you peace.
That's our prayer.
In the midst of our prayer, yes. That he'll give you peace, even in the midst of this, that he'll give you a peace. And like I said, I don't know what hubby's stance is on it, what his position is, but prayerfully it's one of that he wants reconciliation and willing to do whatever it takes for you all to get through this. Because that's what we did. The Lord helped us get. It was because of him that we got through it. We didn't stay there, but we got through it.
Yeah, and you got to go through it.
Yeah, so
this is one of them. Some of the stuff you can go around and take a shortcut, but this one of them things you gonna have to walk through it. You got to walk through it, and there's light and peace on the other side. So,
amen. That's it.
That's all the ones we have.
That's it for tonight.
All righty. Once again, please, any questions, please submit them to momentswiththemobleys@gmail.com. Any any help with coaching, counseling, or your relationship?
Coaching. Hit us up on the
She don't like
website.
counseling.
No, I'm not. We're not saying counseling again because we don't want to run into those legal technicalities. We are marriage coaches. Bless the Lord and amen. Soon to be.
Marriage coaches. At the end of the day, we still
Alrighty. Take us out.
all right, y'all. We hope this helped. This has been Moments with the Mobleys. I am your man, Johnny Mobley Jr.
And I'm still his wife
And we something like an ordinary couple.
with extraordinary purpose.
Peace out, y'all.
Have a good night.
I gotta go.